This meeting is called to order. This is the regular meeting of the Board of Directors of the Vallecitos Water District for Wednesday, October 19, 2022 at 5 p.m. Could I ask General Manager Purim to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, next is roll call. Okay, and three of the five directors are here, with Director Pennick being absent and Director Sinella being absent. Next, I have additions to the agenda. Any proposed additions? Seeing none, we'll move on to adoption of the agenda for tonight's meeting.
Second.
Been moved by Director Hernandez, seconded by Director Boyd Hodgson to approve tonight's agenda. Please vote. And I think we're waiting on Director Hernandez.
Oh, sleeping at the switch.
There. And that passes unanimously. Thank you. Next, we have public comment. Persons wishing to address a matter not on the agenda may be heard at this time. I have no speaker slips. Is there any public wanting to address the board on an item not on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on to presentations.
Yeah, I'll take the first item, President Ellithorpe. We're receiving an award today from a group called MESAC, and I'm not going to steal the gentleman's thunder, but Mitch Cochran's here from MESAC tonight, and he'll make a presentation, and we'll try to get some pictures with the IT group and with the board members after he's done.
Welcome, Mitch.
Thank you. Good evening, President Ellithorpe and board members and staff. Pleasure to be here this evening. My name is Mitch Cochran. I am a retired director from the city of San Bernardino and Monrovia and a number of other places, but I'm also a past president for the state for the MESAC. MESAC, and I get the honor tonight of representing MESAC and its state board. The Municipal Information Systems Association of California is a statewide organization of IT professionals from over 400 cities and special districts. The association promotes peer-to-peer communication among municipal IS professionals, offers professional staff development and enrichment. We serve as an advisory body to the League of California Cities with representatives on the League's committee, government technology, and other conferences. We provide a number of functions at the state level to all our members. A statewide conference, an active listserv, information library, co-op technical training that are no cost to our members, and the Excellence in IT Practices program. This program is a certificate, or we established this program as certification to recognize exemplary achievements and performance in information technology practices. The Vallecitos Water District, under the direction of Mateus Lebre, is recognized this evening as an agent that excels in creative and efficient uses of resources in local government. The award signifies the agency has exceeded local government standards in the area of strategic planning and budget, purchasing, operations, customer satisfaction, internet, project management, training, disaster preparation and recovery, policies, procedures, and GIS. You can see it's pretty encompassing there. The process is just as important as the award. As part of the program, the applicant receives an evaluation of the program and where they can improve. A panel of 3 city IS directors give the award based on a 100-question audit review of the information system operation. It's a great look to see how you're doing from the outside world. The application is updated every year to meet and incorporate new standards and best practices, so applicants are held to the highest standards. And for those familiar with the CAFR, which is now renamed the ACFR, I believe, awards from CSMFO, the program is similar, but ours is a lot tougher. And on behalf of the Municipal Information Systems Association of California, it's my distinct pleasure to present the Vallecitos Water District and MESAC's Award for Achievement in Information Technology Practices. Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you
if I
very
can
much.
ask Jonathan and Matthias and anybody else from IT here? I don't think so. If they can come down and take a picture with Mitch, and if the board members can work their way down. And while you're all coming down, I just want to say, I think we here at staff know we have an awesome IT department. It's really nice to see recognition from an outside agency.
I agree completely.
Yeah, fine. I'm at the gym.
Congratulations. Good job, thank you.
You bet.
I already did your role.
Matthias, grab the
Hold
award.
Right?
I don't know.
Okay, you guys got the award, you guys can.
Get in there, Jonathan. Get in the middle.
Can we all fit in here?
Yeah, but let's get the, logo in the center, so everybody slide right, slide right, slide right.
Gotta be the appropriate photo op.
You're right. We'll start having a dance song in a second. Left foot this time. Everybody smile. 1, 2, 3. That looks good. Thank you.
Thanks, Mitch. Okay, moving on to the next presentation. General Manager Prum.
Yeah, I'll take that one too. Thank you, President Elitharp. So we're going to be recognizing staff achievements for the last quarter. You may recall last week, we did the Employee Appreciation Event, and that was to recognize service anniversaries and new hires and things like that. This is different, and this is the first time we're doing it, so we want to get it structured so that every quarter we're recognizing achievements by staff for the previous quarter. So this covers the period of time from July 1 to September 30th. We have a few of the members that will be, staff members that are receiving awards tonight. And Bridget, I don't think we have any awards to give, right? But maybe I could just read out the names and their accomplishments, and we can take some pictures at the end.
Okay,
So.
great.
All right, so first individual receiving an award is Ann Lopez. So Ann's with us tonight, and she received her Distribution 2 certificate from State Water Resources Control Board. So
Congratulations.
Sitting to Ann's left is Allison Fretwell. So Allison was upgraded to an Engineering Technician 1. So congratulations. And stay tuned at the next quarterly because there's more news on Allison to come. So, third one is Trevor Partain. Trevor's not with us today, but Trevor passed his D2, Distribution 2 test with the State Water Resources Control Board. So congratulations. Chris Tapia from our meter department. Chris wasn't able to join us. He passed his D3 test with the State Water Resources Control Board. Mitchell Toth received his D3 certificate from State Water Resources Control Board. And Mitchell's only been with us 6 months or something like that. Yeah, we're relatively new. And the last individual award is for Chris Robbins. Chris is back there. And Chris implemented the summer internship program with Palomar College and helped issue with the 5 scholarships under the new district program. So congratulations. And the last one we'll acknowledge, but it was already acknowledged at a board meeting, but I'll read it because it happened in that time period. And it was a group organization award. And that was the finance and accounting team, and they were awarded the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting from the GFOA. So congratulations.
So, do we get another one because they changed the name of it?
Yeah, I don't think so. No, I don't think we get that. But it's really nice on these group awards to get recognition from outside parties and outside groups like GFOA and like the MESAC award. But so if I can ask maybe Ann and Allison to come down, if the board members, if you don't mind, to
Yeah,
come
not at all.
get more mileage on your frequent flyer cards. And Chris, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to leave Chris out, but I was assuming Chris would take the picture, but somebody else has to take the picture.
Congratulations again. This is a regular occurrence of you talking to me.
So we'll be coming back every quarter to do something similar with all the Achievement Award winners.
Okay, next is consent calendar. I'll entertain a motion in a second to approve the consent calendar, unless anyone wants an item pulled.
Move to approve?
Second?
Been moved by Director Boyd Hodgson, seconded by Director Hernandez to approve the consent calendar. Please vote. And that carries unanimously. Thank you. Okay, next is public hearing item 2.1, continued from October 5th, 2022. Board of Directors meeting, consider adopting resolutions of necessity for the acquisition of easement interests in 1, assessor's parcel number 228-360-43, and 2, APNs 223-370-38 and 228-370-04 for the Montiel Lift Station Enforcement Replacement Project in San Marcos, California. As we did last time, in order to provide time for the district to continue property discussions with the owners, staff recommends this item be continued to the regular board meeting scheduled for Wednesday, November 2nd, 2022. And I'll entertain a motion and a second to do so.
Move to approve?
Second.
It's been moved by Director Hernandez, seconded by Director Boyd Hodgson to continue this item to the November 2nd, 2022 regular board meeting. Please vote. And it passes unanimously. Thank you. Okay, moving on to action items, 3.1, water supply conditions update, and I think that's Chris.
It is. Thank you, President Elithar, board members. Let me see if I can share this. Right? Coming up?
You're on the presentation already, wrong screen. Here, press escape.
Which one?
Go, stop sharing. Right here, press this. Yeah, right here, stop sharing.
Well, that's my problem. It's on a whole nother screen.
Go ahead and start your slideshow first.
Oh.
Okay, now go back and hit Windows
Yep.
and right there. Now click on that. Now go here and start share. And then pick that one. There you go. Should be good to go.
There's a reason I use or PDFs rather than the PowerPoints. So, sorry for that. The Board of Directors put us in a level 2 drought alert condition back in April 20th of 2022. Currently, irrigation is restricted to 3 days per week, but I will be issuing a press release on October 31st because that'll be the end of October, and we will go over to the winter schedule where it's only down to 2 days per week. So I want to remind the customers of the limited irrigation from November through May. Water year 2022 from October of 2021 through September 30th of 2022 ended. Statewide precipitation was 76% of average. And it ranks as the 29th driest year in a period of record that dates back to water year 1896. So pretty bad. The year had some wet and dry extremes. We had that big flurry last October. But then once we reached 2022, it was the driest start to a calendar year on record in California. So not so good. But that was the old water year. We're moving towards the new water year. There's currently no snowpack at all for the new water year just yet. I didn't even include the slide on water content because there wasn't anything to put into it. For reservoir storage, Oroville at 34% and San Luis Reservoir at 27%. And then upper basin precipitation, it says 91% to date, but it can swing wildly really early in the water year. Lake Mead is 28% full, and Lake Powell is 25% full. 3-month temperature outlook above normal favored for San Diego region, and then precipitation below normal favored. So nothing real positive on the horizon at this point, and that's the end of the water supply conditions update. Let's keep our fingers crossed for this new water year, but I'll take any questions.
Sure, I just wanted to ask on locally, have you seen any major water waste or water hog users?
I get water waste complaints about 2 per week. Quite often just follow up with a phone call. Strangely, some of them have been coming in via the State of California website where, you know, if you don't know who the water agency is, you can just send it to the state and the state kind of routes it to you, which is sort of a workaround because there's no real way for me to follow up with whoever is making the complaint. I can't go back to them and say, hey, I contacted the customer and they realized their problem and it's resolved. So water waste complaints, but nothing particularly egregious.
Good. Any other questions?
If we notice, for example, on road medians in the city, I noticed that in my neighborhood, it was the day after we got visible precipitation, the sprinklers were running. Is it the case that we should, and my irrigation is still off, I'm just reminded, and that's why my yard is dead, but is it 24 hours, is it 48 hours after visible precipitation or measurable precipitation, irrigation should be shut off?
Correct, 48 hours.
48 hours, okay.
Yeah, and you can send it to me and I'll follow up with
Okay.
Whoever needs to be followed up
Okay.
with. Just so you're all aware, there is a lot of groundwater in the area, and sometimes after the rains, you'll get this seepage that appears at low points, and it could be that nobody's really doing anything wrong. It's just water surfacing out through the ground. It just happens quite often.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that was quite a downpour we had in isolated spots around town last week. Okay, if there's no other questions, we'll move on to item 3.2, urban retail water suppliers, water loss management.
So that's going to be me as well. James, help me get this one.
Go ahead and start the slideshow, or is that a PDF?
It's PDF.
Okay, then just go right here.
Yep.
Just share. And just pick your slide. You want to pick. Share. Good to go.
Let me see if I can full size it. So this is our annual water loss submittal. Every agency within the state is required to do this. It was put in place back in 2015. Senator Wolk put it forth. Urban water suppliers need to submit a completed and validated water loss audit and start reporting back in 2017, and we've done it annually ever since. It was set up to train us. There was a water loss collaborative that was put together by AWWA. They led to kind of a stakeholders group, and called it the Water Loss Collaborative, and trained water staff throughout the state on how to do these water audits. The entity was in turn called the Technical Assistance Program, or Water Loss TAP. They offered a lot of free seminars, and our staff attended them. They recommend that every agency put together kind of a water loss audit team, including staff from water conservation, from your finance office, supply and operations, engineering. Right now it's Mike Arthur from finance, Ed Pedrazi, myself, and then we've pulled in Chris Tapia as the newest member to this. And then Elizabeth Lopez serves as a water validator for us, which is a whole nother important part of getting approval for your water loss process. They teach you a lot of terminology about how you want to talk about the different types of potential water losses that you have. This is kind of a graphic to kind of give you a feel for what they're talking about. Real losses, you can see the water's actually coming out of the ground. It's going away. It's disappearing. Whereas apparent losses are just meter accuracy, data handling errors, just things that can go wrong in the process of your billing system. Here's the real big water loss terminology worksheet. I realize there's a lot of information here. The one thing that's really important for me to spell out to you is, because we're putting all these words and they have little cells that they're in, they all seem like they're about the same size, but that's really invalid. The amount that we lose from unbilled metered consumption is not similar in size to billed water exported or billed metered consumption. So this graphic does us some disfavors in that regard, in that, you know, it's a cell and it needs words in it, but it's really, really, really small. And there's no real easy way to kind of show it graphically without it looking, it makes me uncomfortable to look at it, seeing reported leakage looking like it's that big of a cell when it really isn't. Here's the validated audit results. So Elizabeth looked over the data. Mike Arthur gets a lot of the data. Ed does a lot of the work getting the meters results validated through the County Water Authority and ourselves and some of the exchange meters. So the water that went into the system, or the water that was supplied, 14,879 acre feet. Authorized consumption, that implies water that's been through our billing system that we metered and billed customers for it, 14,226. Water losses, 652.5. And then non-revenue water, 743 acre feet. So those two values, water losses is a component of non-revenue water. So realize that it's not both of those values put together. One is a subset of the other. We also get a water audit data validity score. And this is the effort of the state to determine, like, how accurate do they feel your numbers are? You know, how good are your numbers are? And we've had a score of 70 pretty much year after year after year. Different validators validating the data. We've gotten, I think, a 70 every year. And I called last year and wanted to get, hey, what do most people get? And the range is from 50 to 70. The average is more like 68. So we're really at the top of the curve. Although when you see that number 70 there, it looks to me, being a parent of a child, like that's a C. Like, okay, you're getting a low C. You're almost getting a D. But that's really not the way this data is monitored. Non-revenue water is water losses plus unbilled metered water and unbilled unmetered water. And the non-revenue water was reduced by 105 acre feet from calendar year 2020 to calendar year 2021. So that's an improvement. Nice to see. In calendar year 2021, it was approximately 4.9% of water supplied down from the previous year of 5.7% in 2020. So staff throughout the district have made a lot of efforts to reduce water loss. It's really difficult to pinpoint one specific thing that may have made those changes. We've all kind of taken it to heart. We do things differently than we did before, where we actually meter the water that we use for things like filling the Vector trucks, the combination trucks, where we used to just fill them and not pay any attention to how much went into them. So we're improving our efforts in that. I think we may have an additional boost in the following year, where we've done a lot of this line flushing, where we did the flushing that went through the device and then went back into the system rather than just sending it down the drain. So I think that's going to show improvement, but we're a year behind. So let's hope we see some good numbers next calendar year. Recommendations for improvement. We get the feeling DWR is going to tell us to increase their water audit data validity score at some point. And we think agencies will be pushed to increase their score, and staff will identify improvements. And DWR may also develop a standard for water loss. They did some rulemaking today, and I had staff listen to it, but I was busy with Water Academy for tomorrow, so I haven't really seen what all came out of the rulemaking, if anything got added or subtracted to it. It's an annual process. Like I said, the rulemaking hearing took place today, and we will provide additional information on this next calendar year, and I'll take any questions.
Great. Any questions? I'd just like to say that we're headed in the right direction. 4.9 is an excellent number. By way of comparison, I've worked for the Navy in the mid-'80s. Our total water loss was hovering around 25%. So it was absolutely awful. And a lot of it was unmetered. But yeah, so in the old days, AWWA said that if you were between 5 and 10%, you were doing pretty good.
Right.
So I think we're doing better than pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah, congratulations on the continued reduction. That's great.
that's what we want to see.
All right, thank you. Okay, moving on to item 3.3, fiscal year 2023 tactical plan initiatives.
Turned off the presentation view. Yeah. Stop, still in the stop share. And then go to your presentation, just turn on the presentation view. And then, here, let me do this for you. Go down there, yep, there you go.
All right, so we're here to talk. Yeah, turn that back on. So we're here to talk about the fiscal year 2023 tactical plan. All right, so the tactical plan is an outgrowth of the strategic plan, and the board will remember that we adopted a strategic plan back in late last year, but we called it Strategic Plan 2022, and it had 6 strategic focus areas, and they're listed on the sheet right here. Here's a table of contents from the strategic plan, and it shows the 6 strategic focus areas, and there's a total of, I believe, 20 strategies that support those strategic focus areas. You always want your plans to be what they call SMART goals. You want to be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. So before I go to what's in 2023, so last year we had, the first tactical plan we adopted was in March of 2022, and it covered the period of time from the beginning of March until the end of June, the end of the fiscal year. We had 37 tactical plan initiatives in there, and we brought that forward to the board a couple of meetings ago, and the board accepted the final report for that. So this is basically starting the process for fiscal year 2023. So I won't go through all of these individually, but you can see here's a list of the tactical plan initiatives for strategic focus area number 1, and I believe there's 16 of them. Here's the list for number 2, and I believe there's 9 tactical plan initiatives in the strategic focus area 2. Number 3 has 14 tactical plan initiatives, and that's for workforce excellence. Strategic focus area 4 is fiscal responsibility, and we have 16 tactical plan initiatives there. Number 5 is public information and outreach, and we have 6 tactical plan initiatives there. And the last one is strategic focus area number 6, environmental stewardship, and we have 3 tactical plan initiatives there. So wasn't intending to go into great detail. Be happy to answer any questions that the board may have, but the recommendation from staff is to adopt tactical plan 2023. And if the board did that, then staff would clearly be focusing on those tactical plan initiatives over the coming fiscal year, and we would report out as the year progresses. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, President Delathar.
Thank you. Any questions, comments?
Yes.
Oh, go ahead.
Will that report be quarterly?
Probably twice a year.
Twice a
Try to do like halfway through. We're
Okay.
already a quarter of the way through, and we're just getting them adopted. But staff is already working on a lot of these, so we'll probably do one about the end of the calendar year, and then one as we close out the fiscal year, unless the board wants to see it more frequently. You will tend to get some informal updates, because some of the items will actually be coming forward to the board. So for example, there's items that say award a construction contract. So you'll see that. It may not be wrapped in the tactical plan initiative framework, but it'll be showing the progress on some of those tactical plan initiatives.
Thank you.
Director Boyd Hodgson.
Thank you. Thank you for the thorough listing of the tactics. I do have a couple of questions, and I have some suggestions. Can you explain to me, I noticed that, and I just sort of scribbled it out, so I'm not exactly sure which one it fell under, but it was something fiscal, maybe number 3, the consideration for outsourcing payroll. I was just curious why that was something that was being considered, and if that means that we will be reducing staff.
Well, yeah, so it's probably premature to say we may be reducing staff, but these
Okay.
are the types of things that at management level we look at all the time.
Okay.
So as certain people leave employment, it causes us to look at the job functions being prepared. So it's just a study at this point in time. We would look at it and see if it makes sense. We would do some costing, see how it compares to internal. But we certainly don't want to raise the angst in the organization that we're outsourcing things, but these are the types of things we look at.
Okay, all right, thank you. A suggestion that I had under customer rates and charges, one of the things that we've been talking about in the P3 committee as well as offline, with our larger customers, for example, the San Alejo Hills HOA, is the consolidation of the bill. And I would like to see a tactic in here where we work towards maybe setting up a best practice, so that when this might be a selling point for our larger customers, that we can facilitate the billing to make it easier for them. I know that we're still working through that process with the HOA, but I would like to see it codified, or at least mentioned in here, so that we can work towards having an outcome that's measurable. And maybe that's something that we can take to the city of San Marcos and other places too, to improve efficiency. I have 2 more suggestions that I'd like to discuss. The second one is in area number 6 under 6.4. That's the environmental stewardship. And we have tremendous resources on staff, with Lisa being a master gardener. I would like to see some kind of tactic that really explores helping homeowners know how to switch out their landscaping, or include water conservation systems. Not necessarily that we have to do that, but at least maybe maybe it falls even under public relations, maybe some kind of where we make an effort to push out what San Diego Water Authority is doing, or something like that, or really promoting our own expertise. We've got Lisa, and she's that's an area of expertise that she has. So I'd like to see something like that. And these are ideas. They're not, of course, written in a way that is a smart goal, but I think that that's a place where we can really shine since we've got the expertise. And finally, just coming off of the heels of the Lake San Marcos birds, it really made me start thinking, what occasions does the water district have to use herbicides and pesticides? And I don't know the answer to that, but if we do have the occasion to do that, I would like for us to provide, I would like to be provided with a list of herbicides/pesticides and sort of understand when we use them, if we use them, and presumably they have MSDS sheets associated with them. So that seems like that might be kind of an easy lift, just an internal audit where we have a list of those things. And I don't know if we ever use them, but if we do, I'd like to know more about that.
Yeah, I think we already do have that list. I don't know if you're prepared to talk about that right now, or if we could just come back. Yeah, okay.
Okay, that's all.
So maybe I'll look to the board big picture. Are we asking to kind of approve this on the fly with the understanding that we may add those three? Or are you asking, do you think we should come back when we have the full board and we can add those to the list and see if the rest of the board likes those additions as well?
Yeah, I for one would like to see any changes and approval of the technical plan in front of the full board.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, any other thoughts on maybe possible additions?
I don't have anything else.
So, okay, well, what I propose we do is we'll re-agendize it for the next meeting, and we'll put some thought into framing these out, putting it in the context of a smarter goal, something that specifically touches on those three areas. If there's something simple for like the list of herbicides and pesticides, we could just provide it to you and say we already have it. But
Great.
if there's more work that needs to be done, we'll wrap it into the TPIs.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, we keep a list of MSDS sheets, I think,
Yep.
for all the hazardous materials. That should
Yeah.
be easy to do.
Yeah, we have that, but do we have rules as when do we apply it? How close to a water body? And if we have like an SOP, we can share that as well. And if
Okay.
we don't have it, we'll just wrap it into a technical plan initiative.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great. Okay, so we're not taking any action?
Correct, yeah, we'll just re-agendize it for the next meeting.
Okay, very good. Okay, moving on to our last action item, 3.4, approved general manager contract extension. And I'll look to legal counsel
Yeah.
on this item.
Yeah, the request in front of you is to consider approval of the Second Amendment to the amended employment agreement between Vallecitos and General Manager Glenn Pruitt. By law, I'm required to announce what the compensation elements of that are for the public. The amended agreement would be a two-year extension of the existing contract. The general manager's salary would be increased by $13,686 per year, which is a 5% increase from $273,716 to $287,402. The general manager would continue to be eligible to receive annual increases as he has in the past at the discretion of the board. The amendment would also entitle the general manager to 80 hours per calendar year of executive leave. This would be an increase from the current 50 hours per year to 80 hours per year. All of the other terms of the existing agreement would remain the same. So with that, obviously the recommendation is to approve the proposed Second Amendment to the amended employment agreement with GM Pruitt.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion and a second to
Move to
move
approve.
the recommendation.
Second.
Been moved by Director Hernandez, seconded by Director Boyd Hodgson to move the recommendation, approve the recommendation. Please vote. And it passes unanimously. Congratulations, General Manager Pruitt.
Thank you very much.
Okay, moving on, that's the end of our action items, moving on to reports. I'll start with the general manager.
Yeah, I think the only thing I really have to report, besides saying thank you again for the contract extension, is a reminder about the Water Academy tomorrow. Starts at 8:30. I know we have a lot of people signed up, but I believe we might still have some room on the bus. So if there's anybody watching tonight that wants to join us tomorrow, join us here at 8:30 in the morning. We'll spend the beginning part of the morning in the boardroom, the latter part of the morning out in the yard here, and a whole afternoon on a bus touring district facilities. So it'll be a good day, and it's been 3 years since we've done it. The last time was in October of 2019. So staff is really looking forward to the event again.
Good
That's all I
news,
have.
yeah. Okay, district legal counsel.
Just a single item. You may have seen a week or so ago, the Coastal Commission approved the South Coast Water District's desal plant. It's a, I guess, an about face from their unanimous rejection of the Huntington Beach plant proposal. Some are viewing it as an indication that the state regulators, in particular the Coastal Commission, are seeing these desal plants as an alternative to the drought conditions. I know they're set to consider another project up in Monterey that's being pursued by Cal-Am on, I think it's in November. I did note at least in this article, the proposed cost of the water for the Doheny plant is going to be $14.79 per acre foot. So that's 20% higher than their import costs, but it does signal that others are looking at alternatives to, the Colorado River and clearly State Water Project
Yeah,
supplies,
the
which are.
footprint of this plant is a lot smaller than the one that was voted down at Huntington Beach. I think this one's only 5 MGD.
Yeah, it's a lot smaller, and then they're drawing the water from wells underneath the seafloor as opposed to direct intake. So it's
So
more environmentally
this may be the
friendly. It may be a different.
maybe the wave of the future, having many smaller plants rather than a few large ones.
Could be.
Yeah, could be. Thank you. Okay, moving on to San Diego County Water Authority. Nothing to report other than the regular board meeting for this month is next week on the 27th. So with that, I'll move on to Encino Wastewater Authority.
Yes, we had our capital committee meeting this morning, and we accepted the SCADA upgrades after many years. And then we also recommended approval of a contract to award for flood improvement construction. We have a drainage channel that cuts right through the Encino Wastewater Authority. And in 2014, they had an assessment, knowing that, a major portion of the facility is low. And then in 2020, we had a major flood incident that was within 10 inches of overflowing that channel, which would have really put a hurt on the facility. Now we move forward. We've got a contract in place. Going to take that to the board for approval to actually implement creating water barriers around some of the electrical equipment entrances so that if there is a flood, it's not going to get to the electric equipment and shut the place down. So I think that was good. We recommended approval, and we'll take that to the board. And that was the end of the report.
Thank you. Next is standing committees. Did we have any?
Nope, haven't had any.
None to report. Okay, next is directors' reports on meetings, conferences, and seminars attended. Any meetings?
I don't think so.
No? Okay. For information only is item 5.1, quarterly board expenses. Next is directors' comments on future agenda items. Take any comments at this point? Seeing none, we're at the point of adjournment, so this meeting is adjourned.
All right.